I'm not turning my phone. Okay. That might be okay. Although I might be sideways to everybody. I don't know. I'll wait and see who pops on here. See if anybody makes a comment, tells me anything. I would like to know if I'm right side up or upside down or what the heck I am. Because it's looking like I'm sideways. I don't know why it's doing that. Whoever's on, somebody just popped on. Could you please tell me if I'm sideways? This is telling me I'm sideways. I hate turning it again, but it's telling me that I'm sideways. And if I have to, Donna, I see that's you on there. Let me. Donna? Am I sideways? You're the only one that's actually on here right now. But it kind of looks like I'm sideways. I am sideways. All right. Let me see what I can do about straightening this way. Crap. That's going to turn it upside down. Bear with me, folks. I'm sorry. I set this up a little while ago, and it's acting all kind of stupid now. I know I'm the right way up now, but that isn't how I want to be. So let me try putting that over there and this over here. And that is not how I wanted to do this thing, but that is okay. I will live all the same. So we're going to be sideways. Well, now I'm right side up, I assume. I hope, anyway. No, great. And now I can't see that or me. Hold on, got to change one more thing here. Pain in the ass. There we go. I'm probably going to have to change the angle now, too. Because it was set for a landscape angle, and now it's not. And when I do that, it should be a little bit better. There we go. Straightened out, I think. I hope. And while we're here, you get a good shot of that shirt. Those are the t-shirts that were made to benefit my darling grandchild. And we got ours the other day. Donna Bonacorsi was the first person that was on here, so she's the. I was going to do this at the end. Donna, we got your package, and thank you very much. We have other T-shirts as well. I have my own Tea Time with Tea T-shirt now, as does Valerie, and that came from Donna. Now some pretty girl wants to get in. You coming up? You gonna come all the way up? I figured you would. Say, yeah, got to jump in there and say hi to everybody, don't you? Hello, Kathy McLeod. Hello, mate. How are you? The dog is just here for reference and for attention, both for me to get attention and you to get attention. She might like me. I'm not sure. Okay, crazy girl. All right, that's enough now. You got to get down, baby. No, you cannot actually get in my lap. You cannot do it. You're not a lap dog. You're no kind of lap dog. Go see your mama. Oh. Anyway, I'm here. I'm here after 2 long weeks of being off and in a very, very strange way, not under the name that you're used to seeing, because that poor son of a bitch is in Facebook jail. Yeah, I'm in Facebook jail. It is just a little bit ridiculous. The whole, I really can't say much as far as how this goes, but in a lot of ways, that's what I wrote this days ago. But then yesterday got tossed into Facebook jail about just what I'm talking about here. And that is the new capitalism. And a lot of people don't understand that we really do have a new capitalism. And by the way, they're the same flaws that the old capitalism had, this capitalism has. And for the exact same reason, only thing is they are amplified. They're amplified something insane. The question is, where do you get your news from? Let's start with that. Where do you get your news from? Think about that. You get your news as much as anywhere else right here. right here on Facebook. And you don't get a lot of news. For instance, are you aware that both Facebook and YouTube, as well as other social media sources, deleted that data? And this is from their own mouths. Deleted data in reference to the January 6th insurrection. Facebook and YouTube deleted data in reference to the January 6th insurrection. I'm not making this up. Look these things up. By all means, and that's kind of the whole point of this thing. Look these things up. That happened. It happened. Facebook said, well, oops, we use CrowdTangle and store data for we do that to sell it to people that are wanting to track trends. Keep that in your heads. Selling it to people that track trends. Somehow, from CrowdTangle, oops, the stuff that the January 6th committee asked for got deleted. It's nice. They said, oops, it got deleted. That was their answer. And you'll find that answer out there. You can find an article on Politico. I know there's one there. I believe there's another one on HuffPost. Trusted news sources. But how many of you knew that? How many of you actually knew that Facebook and YouTube both, and there are other social media companies, all of whom have somehow accidentally deleted data regarding a thing where they, and we all know what it is, they realized that they were a part of it. They realized that part of the problem that was going on that day when they looked at the news was, oh fuck, we caused this shit. And in a lot of ways they did. That's scary enough, but the fact that, oops, we deleted it is acceptable to anybody is downright terrifying. But they did. They deleted it. Let's look for a minute at who and what is dealing with this. How this is supposedly happening. Because in a lot of ways, it applies to what's going on with me right now, today. All right? Look for a minute who and what does this. Many of the tools that they use are AI, artificial intelligence, algorithms. And everything they have is encrypted. As far as getting to people at Facebook, unless you are Congress and can put a subpoena out there, and even then, fight like hell not to do it, unless you're of that level of power, you're not talking to a person at Facebook. You're just not gonna. There are people there, but their time is obviously much more important putting together the algorithms. The social media companies have another out beyond just saying, ooh, I lost it, and that is specifically the encryption. A lot of the information that the January 6th committee has asked for, they have received, but they've received it in an encrypted form. When they ask for it, it's not going to come to them. Okay, I would like the stuff from Ted Cruz's page, the stuff from this person from the Oath Keepers page. We want to see that. It's not going to come to them as a book. It's not going to come to them all written out. It's going to come to them in the encrypted data form, unless, and this is the thing, unless they ask for it by individual message. The individual messages, then they can decide if they're going to decrypt them and send them. A lot of the stuff they're asked for is not going to get to them, even though Facebook and these other groups say they are cooperating. They are not cooperating. It's not going to be the book that they can open and read and extrapolate information from. Getting it in that form would require a request for each message. I told you that. Now I want you to think about another thing. How many things did you comment on and post to today? How many? Just you, just today. Now, they want to see months of information. Do you have any idea how difficult it's going to be to get the individual information? And they're not going to get any help from the folks here at Facebook. They're not. These are all real, now, today, threats to our democracy. And what it amounts to is extremists being allowed to get away with their bullshit with lame excuses. Oh, well, we deleted a bunch of that stuff. Oh, well, yeah, sure, you can have that. It's all encrypted. I don't know what you can do with that, but here, have it. Lame excuses that are going to tear up this country if we don't find the right way around it. The flip side of that is the damage done by this very same tech to individual people. The exact same things, the exact same tech, and the damage it's doing, mine right now is minuscule. And the other thing is, there are workarounds, obviously, if you know how to do all of that. Do you have any idea how many people rely now on Facebook as their principal source of communication between they and their families? Think about that for a moment. Think about it for a moment. And think about the power that this platform has because of that. So many people that rely on this medium to communicate in a lot of ways right now with the pandemic, with anyone in the outside world. This is how they do it. How many of you are doing that? I know I sure as hell have. Oh, well. So what do? Ban Facebook? No, I'm getting there. I am definitely getting there. You didn't think I'd come in without at least some idea of how to get around, did you? The level of mistake is being played out daily, though. And families are being pulled apart for it, by it, because of it. Whole families being ripped to shreds. How many of you have friends on here that have said that they no longer talk to this member of their family, that member of their family? A lot of different ways around it. Now, what all of this is called is surveillance capitalism. What did this have to do with the new capitalism? That's what we have. Surveillance capitalism. Yes, Donna, exactly. That's where I'm going. Surveillance capitalism is a thing. What Facebook and so many others do is use algorithms. Now, let's look at the algorithm that got me into trouble today, or in the last few. The exact words that I used. Now, this was a post in a leather artisans group. I'm a leather artisan. It's one of the things I do. I'm a leather artisan, and I know how to use the tools, and I know what they are. Someone asked a question about a tool. The tool in particularly, hold on, I didn't intend to do it this way, so I'm not quite prepared. I'll be right back. The tool in particularly, because mine are always handy, is a leather punch. That's a leather punch. This is a round hole leather punch. You can get a better look at it there, I think. Goes up through, punches that little bit of leather out. That comes up through the top, comes through these holes on the side. They have them in different sizes. These if you were to look at the handles, that's going to be backwards to you, but that is well, it looks like 9 to you. It is a 6 millimeter. There's 6 millimeter distance between them. Patterns that you use for leather, you print out like that. All right. And if you take a look, now here's the thing. This was exactly what I was talking about. All right. I've got one of those directly in line with the hole that is supposed to be punching. If you look down below, the lower one isn't quite lined up as well. They're supposedly 6 millimeters. That set is a little bit off. When you've got a pattern, when it's printed out properly, it might not be 6 millimeters in between. You've got a couple of things at play there. You've got that distance, which may be inaccurate, or this was printed on a cheap inkjet printer. Those things get dirty on the wheels that actually drive the paper through, set it to each thing that it's supposed to be printed on. Might be off from there. Person asked why his holes weren't lining up. Further in the dialogue, I replied, and this is verbatim. After I had explained one thing one time, I said to him, I am somewhat verbose, but you know exactly what I mean and all of that. Good stitching is all about precision. The more expensive punch sets are usually dead on, so you don't have to worry about anything but proper printing alignment. That said, all bets are off if you are a gorilla with a mallet. Even the best of the sets will eventually malform. That was the whole comment that got me thrown into Facebook jail. That whole comment about nothing other than the use of tools for leatherwork. Because an algorithm looked the whole damn thing up. All right? So many will go against me saying this now. That's how I got tossed. Surveillance capitalism works the same way. What's happening is an algorithm is reading what's going on. And we just had a whole lot of this come up, turned into a big deal for Facebook, that it turns out that their algorithms pointed out to them that, hey, these young girls show up on here asking about their body and looking like this. So you know what? They end up on these pages that are all about eating disorders and things like that. So they feed them this information, where to find all of these other things, all built on an algorithm. A person has never touched this. All built on an algorithm. We do that with the way they market things as well. How many times have you looked up on the internet something to do with your car or some product or another that you're going to have to get? So you look it up, you go to Amazon, you might buy it there, but then you go to your Facebook page and 2 weeks later, the same thing that you bought a couple of weeks ago is now showing up on your page constantly, time after time after time after time. Algorithms. Also, algorithms. If you climb on Facebook and look for all of the extremist groups that are anti-vaccination, anti-mask, everything else, you know what you're going to see on your page from there? A whole lot of other people. Now, is it specifically going to be against vaccinations? No. No. It's not going to be that. It's going to bring you to people. That's a good one. The MyPillow guy. Trump's big backer. You know how many ads I have pulled that I have said, never show me this shit again? And I still see it? That's how surveillance capitalism works. They keep reinforcing an idea, even if it's a bad fucking idea. They keep putting it down your throats. Mis and disinformation based on false data is deadly. I hate that when that happens, call coming in from God knows where. But misinformation and disinformation is deadly. While I can get booted for nothing, for describing how that works, and not even cussing and swearing about it, describing how it works can get me booted off of Facebook. Dear Zuckertrump says that his advertisers don't want their placement with incendiary dialogue. You liar. You absolute liar. Your algorithms actually work to reinforce that bullshit. And you expect us to buy it. It's dangerous, people. But that's how they make money. Look at all those ads you block. They're making money off of those ads. Because you looked up something, you probably looked up something anti-Trump, and they found something that hooked into Mike Lindell's speaking about Stop the Steal, and they put that to you. That's how they make money. Yes, they do want those ads put with incendiary dialogue. Yes, they do. You got to take that to the next logical step, though. What happens when you see information presented as a fact? Now, most people don't go look it up. Although you should, most people don't go look it up. Instead, you kind of respond with a preconceived notion of what is correct. Sorry about knocking that around like that. It's called bias assimilation. There have been hundreds of studies on this. You see a thing, and rather than go look it up, you say, depending on your own bias, oh yeah, that's absolutely true. There's where the problem comes in, folks, because Facebook and companies like them are eating this shit up and making a shit ton of money on it. Bias assimilation. That in turn leads to what's called informational cascades. An awareness of what others are thinking, controlling your own tastes and beliefs. And early adopters of any kind of given protocol, whatever you think of, whatever's out there, this biased information, but the early adopters of it have an undue influence because of the algorithms that are out there feeding you this shit. Case in point, do you know how many people are really responsible for I believe it's now 64 million people that haven't been vaccinated and won't get vaccinated, or at least they're fighting it every step of the way? You know how many people are actually responsible as best they can tell? 12. There are 12 super misinformation spreaders that have been identified concerning COVID. These 12 people are basically at the root of the whole COVID anti-vax and anti-mask movement. 12. Give that some thought. There are 12 people out there that really have been pushing this shit. Most of them not most of them. A number of them have been pulled off of platforms because they're so fucking terrible about it. They've been pulled off of platform. But there are only 12 that they've actually identified as, it's kind of like the events, super spreaders of misinformation. All of that leads to where we are right now. Group polarization. And there's no easy way out of it. Somebody asked me that before. What do you do? There is no easy way out of it. It's going to have to be regulated. We didn't get into this mess overnight, and we're not going to get out of this mess overnight. It's not going to be healed tomorrow. But what can you do? You can demand better. Demand that this behemoth we're talking about be regulated and, if necessary, broken apart, if that is what it's going to take to keep people safe. Demand better. Demand that their adherence for a minimum standard of accuracy be set. That there has to be some kind of a standard, much as there was with journalism, but there has to be a standard for truth. And if you miss that standard, then you are taken off the platform. You could say it's a slippery slope on the First Amendment. I don't think so. You can't yell fire in an auditorium. There's all kinds of things you can't do. First Amendment does not protect you against everything. And it should protect you against bold-faced lies. There's another thing that you can do. And we did it for 5 hours the other day. You can tune out every now and then. As I said, I've been on vacation from this for 2 weeks. I've been on vacation. I haven't been, not looking at the news. But I have tuned out just a little bit. And that's for the sake of my own sanity. And then as soon as I get back to where I'm going to do that, then I get booted off of Facebook. Nice. But the whole point is, there are things you can do about it, and you should do about it. Demand better. Talk to your congressman and say, hey, this needs to be regulated. This is too powerful an entity. This is part of our infrastructure now, folks. Infrastructure has to be regulated. Tune out sometimes and reconnect with the real world. I don't think it gets any better than that. My real world, that beautiful grandchild. You can get one of these t-shirts. I've shared a link in the past. I will share it again. But that's what I have for today. I'd like to hear from you. You can reach me right there. Post Office Box 853, Spencer, Tennessee, 38585. I like getting cards and letters from you. Again, thank you, Donna Bonacorsi, for the great things that you sent us. A lot of nice little surprises in the package, as well as a nice note. The t-shirts, it was just so good to get it. And I appreciate it so much. I appreciate hearing from all of you, however. And I would hope that you... Oh, Greg, I didn't even get into the international aspects. You are absolutely correct, sir. One of these days we'll talk about that. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. I love each and every one of you. I'd like to have you send me some things to the post office box right there. That'd be great. Just want to hear from you. More than anything else, and especially on this one because it's going to be a little bit different, share this shit if you would.